Hey everyone, my name's Tenebris and welcome back to Road to Vostok. Today we're going to be testing out the new save system and shelter system that's going to be implemented into public demo 2 later on this year. And stepping into the shelter for the first time, this is awesome, man! A very cozy little space here. So, a number of things aren't active during the Patreon build, one of them being the weapon wall itself, as well as the trading system, which I'm sure will potentially show up as a Patreon build, maybe even later on. But for now, we have the opportunity to test out our storage systems here in the game and see how all of the storage is working and make sure that it's all working properly. Let's make our way on downstairs. All the lights are on, which is nice. We have these targets that we can move around, so let's reposition them just to make sure that everything is kind of saving things properly. So let's move this guy. Oh, it's being a bit weird with the movement. Excellent. There is potentially a bug with this guy and picking him up. Yeah, very weird. For a quick little bit of feedback on the HUD changes, because I really do actually enjoy what we have for the UI here in the first place, but a nice thing to see would be potentially having the primary, secondary, and all those slots get minimized downwards, and then have the health, hydration, energy, and all of that stuff take up a little bit less screen space here. And here's another small bug for RtV, the developer, to work out, with the audio and ambience from inside the shelter playing outside of the shelter. Now let's test out item saving and how that all works inside of the shelter now. And now that we've picked up all that stuff, we get to test out one of the first status effects brought into the game, which is being over-encumbered. It makes you move slower, it gives your character less inertia so you don't speed up as quickly, you have a lower jump height, as well you use a lot more stamina. And it seems to be working quite well here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to place just a ridiculous amount of attachments inside of these little drains here, and then we're going to place weapons probably all over the place out in the open for the first bit, just to see how that saving all works. Alright, there we go. We've got a bucket full of attachments over here, and I've placed things actually kind of particularly here inside of the shelter just to make sure that all of this stuff is saving correctly when we get to that point. So I placed the guns on the shelves, just standing upwards, filled up these two shelves, and then placed a whole bunch of guns on this couch to see if things will save over in this area as well. And the last thing we're going to check with this save system is whether or not the electrical things that are turned on, whether or not they'll continue being active when we reload here. Okay, so let's do the thing. Every time we press L here, we wind up taking damage. So, there we go. And look at that! Everything seems to be staying just as it was. Loading back in from the main menu here. And everything is as it was. Even the attachments. Awesome. Oh, how did I almost miss it? The shelter cat! Okay, so I made a bit of a pile of guns here, and other than it gradually spreading here across the floor, I think now is a pretty good time to see if the game's going to save all of this data here. So let's do the thing. There we go. And that should save the game here. Took a noticeable second longer. But at this point, I also think that that's kind of fair. And loading back in here. Let's see if this takes any longer. No, it really didn't. And the huge pile of guns is still there. Glorious. But the one thing that sadly hasn't been saving here along the way is the position that we put those targets in. So maybe there's something to change around with them. As well as the state of electronic devices and light sources. But now I've gone around and filled up all of the storage containers here in the shelter, so let's do the die one more time. After loading back in here, let's check our cabinets and stuff first, which everything is looking good so far. Excellent. In this one, we've got clothing and medical items. All of that stuff saved, which is great. Our refrigerator full of pea soup, the most important, and that one saved as well. Then we got a couple other crates over here. That looks good, as well as that one. Let's check inside these lockers here. The lockers seem to be working. 2 more crates. Both of those are working great. Our pile is less of a pile now. But then, the final locker. Fantastic. So, it seems like everything is saving excellently here in the game for a first test on the save system and the shelter system here in Road to Vostok. Tomorrow, we're going to be testing out the new weapons with the changed around fire rates and giving our opinions and feedback on that. But for now, the save system is seeming really rock solid for, you know, an early on save system. And so it's got me hopeful for the future, for future shelters and stuff like that. It seems like they're going to be excellent sources of storage and as well a great place to save the game. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed this little tester video, and I will catch you all in the next one. Until then, peace.